本次 WTL 冬季赛战队礼盒共有12件产品，我们保留了一些 WTL 冬季赛战队礼盒共有12诸多新鲜元素，希望通过努力，在战队、选手与观众之间形成更加良好的生态关系，探寻一条属于社区和玩家自己的生存之道。下面我们来介绍一下礼盒内的产品。2022冬季赛连帽卫衣，蓝黑两色可选，以本届 WTL 设计风格为主题，足够让你在人群中找到热爱星际争霸的同好玩家。2022冬季赛纪念笔记本，记录了12个战队从 CTC 时代一路走来的战绩回顾和每个战队王牌选手的介绍，同时对于世界战队联赛不可或缺的第13支战队资料也被收入到笔记本中。DPG 3冠纪念收藏卡， WTL 唯一3冠纪念王者之师全家福， WTL 联赛上 DPG 3度夺冠，让人难以逾越。同时 DPG 著名传奇选手也悄然上镜全家福，选手卡通形象巴基，尽管不像冠军战队那样炫目闪耀，这4名选手都曾经在 WTL 的舞台上留下精彩一笔，中间2字当之无愧。 DPG Rogue 亚克力立牌，可挂包可单独站立摆放，为纪念 DPG 传奇选手 Rogue 而制作的亚克力摆件，特邀画师还原 Rogue 职业生涯中的数个名场面，你能认出所有对应吗？2022冬季赛纪念票，本次纪念票延续了上赛季的设计思路，背面则与夏季赛呼应，以星际老男孩宝藏解说黄旭东及诸多名言为灵感，用火车票的样式进行展现。2022冬季赛选手明信片，包含了本次所有参赛战队的明星选手，是否有你最支持的他呢？让我们为他们助威呐喊吧。2022冬季赛战队贴纸，冬季赛参赛战队 logo 汇集一堂，可贴在礼盒的迷你行李箱上，大胆展示你对支持战队的热爱吧。战队赛贺岁兔年红包，2022冬季赛口罩，2022冬季赛鼠标垫，2022冬季赛迷你行李箱，一改往届纸质外盒不宜收藏的弊端，一盒收纳所有，值得珍藏。好了，以上就是我们礼盒内的所有产品，每一位购买战队礼盒的观众将为燃烧的奖金池注入一份挚爱，未来尚未可知，希望永不泯灭。 Hell, it's about time。
大家好，我是 IG 的马克森的，感谢大家对 WTL 的一个支持啊！有了你们的支持 ，WTL 才能走在现在。然后 WTL 现在出了一个这个礼盒啊，这个礼盒也是比较实用的，而且也比较这个方便啊。如果有兴趣的朋友可以去了解一下，现在礼盒在热卖中啊。然后最后还是要感谢一下大家对 WTL 的一个热爱与支持，谢谢大家。
What's up guys, Rainer here. If you've been enjoying the WTL so far, make sure to check out the gift box. It's a lot of help for the tournament in general. It contains a lot of sick stuff.
네, 안녕하세요. 쇼피파이 리벨리온 테난 변현우입니다. 네, 벌써 2022년이 끝으로 다가왔는데 올해 저한테 2022년은 작년보다는 그래도 나아졌던 한 해 같아요. 작년에는 이제 카토피체도 예선으로 통해서 가게 됐었는데 이번 연도는 예선 없이 바로 조별리그로 가게 되어가지고 조금 더 성장하고 있는 것 같아서 매우 좋고, 지금 진행되고 있는 WTL 팀리그도 아직 시즌이 끝나진 않았지만 남은 경기 잘해가지고 플레이오프에서 꼭 좋은 성적 냈으면 좋겠습니다. 또 이제 내년 2023년도 이 월드 팀리그가 꼭 지속되었으면 좋겠어서 지금 판매하고 있는 기프트박스 같은 것도 많은 관심 주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 올 한 해 응원해주신 팬분들 모두 감사드리고, 내년에도 꼭 스타크래프트2가 그 씬이 이어져가지고 내년에도 계속 뵐 수 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Coming to you live here from Deep Space Nine, right next to the Bajoran wormhole that we have been able to discover thanks to the efforts of Kelazur. We are here today with the semifinals of WTL 2v2. What would we call it? It wouldn't be a show tournament, would it? Tour. There we go. 2v2 tour. I am, of course, the Yakuzaku of the Zaku, and with me today is El Hacedor de Adeptos que apoya los Jets de Newcastle, Light _ VIP. How we doing, Light?
Newcastle Jets? What's up, Yaku? It is great to be back here with some more 2v2 action. We've been casting this 2v2 tournament every day for almost an entire week so far, and we're almost towards the end. We're here in the semifinals. It's great to have you here as well, Yaku. I know I've been casting most of it with Asher, but it's always nice to have you on as well, because clearly we know all about our 2v2s.
Yeah. Ever since the before times coming along.
It's actually true.
Did we die to Mass Liberator at one point?
Don't worry about
That was the other way around.
Mate, these are some repressed memories that we don't have to think about. But yes, touching on what you just said, before times, we are here after times with our first series of the night. It is going to be Serral and Oliveira going up against Skillous and Rattata.
Yeah, the good old Celivera. I always have to watch my tongue with that one against Team Ratless coming in here. A little bit odd naming conventions coming in, but I get it.
Yeah, Ratless is, it's, I mean, this entire tournament, we've been refusing to call them that, and we've been calling them Skillatata. Skillatata. Just sounds a little bit better, but here we go. We're diving into our very first game here of this best of 7 series, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Emerald City, we have the Finnish Zerg player Serral alongside his teammate, the Chinese Blue Terran Oliveira.
And so to go here in the top left, we have Rattata. Oh, right next to his teammate Skillous coming in here. Hot new pickup from Team Liquid. Oh, well.
Beautiful.
Radio cast time. Okay.
Yes, this is time for the radio cast. But yes, Skillous, less than 24 hours, a couple of hours ago, it was announced that he did end up joining. He's drinking a teal mug.
He is full sellout mode. I'm here for it.
He's selling out so hard. He's got the jersey, he's got the mug. Halfway through, he's gonna bring out like a fanfare or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, he's gonna. I don't remember what else Liquid merch does. It's gonna hold up one of those mouse pads that they have.
Yep.
Something along those lines. Be like, be sure to subscribe to Liquid Plus.
He's gonna be sipping from his cup, his TL cup, and then every now and then he's gonna sip from a TL drink bottle as well. He's just gonna switch between all these different merchandise. Oh my god.
He's gonna switch his cam over to his hands, where he'll reveal the Team Liquid Razer mouse or whatever.
Yeah.
He's using over there.
Yeah, halfway through he's gonna put on the HyperX headset as well. It's gonna be.
Yep.
It's gonna be.
He'll pan
amazing.
over to his bed, and it's gonna be full of Team Liquid bedspread.
I would sleep in that.
So get on that, Nazgul.
That would be amazing. Give me that Nazgul body pillow. Oh my god. But enough about body pillows, because we are getting into this game, and so far nothing too crazy, which is pretty interesting. Every now and then, depending, it seems to be very map specific, where certain teams will open up very cheesy and hyper aggressive. So far we have had some pretty standard openers.
Yeah, well, I can't say it's too surprising here coming in from Emerald City. It feels like, this map has been in the 2v2 map pool for the past 3 or 4 years at this point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a staple. So if you try to do something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more cheeky, you have to imagine people know the solution to that by now.
Yeah, I imagine so as well. You know, like even if these players don't play too much 2v2, whenever they do, I'm sure they come across this map and I'm sure they're kind of well fond of it. And now we see the 2v2 meta coming in. So far, the Zerg players, nothing too crazy. They're taking their third bases. They're going for some safety baneliness. The Zerg players are playing almost like a 1v1. We do see though, Skillous, I almost called him Oliveira.
Oliveira, that would be a team up.
That would be a team up, mate. But he is opening up Stargate and Phoenixes. We have seen that Phoenix play is very common here in 2v2s.
Yeah, that's my preferred way to play out a 2v2, at least when I have a Zerg teammate anyway. Just let them do all the work in the early game.
Yep, they're all about, you know, having that early game defense. I mean, was there a Ling under that Phoenix? I guess there was.
There was, yeah. Now it's being lifted.
It looked kind of weird.
I forgot I'm not in game. I just paused my stream for a sec.
Smurge, we can't quite check. But yeah, we do have Phoenix production. Usually this leads into a second Stargate for double Phoenix, and eventually it goes into SkyToss. I know we've seen plenty of that, especially with Nina and Trigger. So things don't bode too well, but Skillous actually doesn't go for a second Stargate.
Yeah, this is defying everything I understand about 2v2.
And this is a good thing.
It does. It means we're not going to be here till 5 a.m.
Yeah. We were really scared. We're like, yo, there's a lot of Protoss tonight. Are we going to get a lot of SkyToss? It looks like we will not. Skillous is actually just kind of switching gears completely, going into ground toss.
Yeah, which should bode pretty well for him. I do appreciate that he's not completely neglecting his Phoenix production, though. He's actually going to be able to catch these medevacs coming up from Oliveira.
Oh my god! And it looks like the medevac is going to go down. Did have a decent amount of Marines as well. Oliveira did go for a 2-1-1 opener, but just in time for this double drop. Unfortunately, he was spotted by the Phoenixes.
Yeah, loses a couple of Marines. A lot of them have been forced to unload as well. And now, whatever... I keep wanting to say time. Whatever Oliveira had planned here, he is... he's going to have to reevaluate.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, obviously, this kind of sets Oliveira behind a little bit, especially with the 2-1-1. You're delaying your own economy to go for a strong double medevac push. And for that to fall on its face, I have to kind of favor Rattata and Skillous for the time being. They're even applying a little bit of pressure. They're picking off, 4, 5, 6 drones already here from Serral. Like, so far, they've had a pretty good start.
Yeah, even if Skillous isn't turtling all the way up to SkyToss, I do generally think that for a Zerg Protoss team like this, the longer the game goes on, the better it is for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we'll see how things go from here, because the reality is that even though they've done a great job harassing and shutting down a lot of these pushes, Serral's macro seems to have been quite strong anyway. We can see that he was able to get to 66 drones actually a little bit faster than Rattata, and he is now working on a +1 Roach push. We'll see if he can hit this timing, and we'll see how powerful it's going to be, especially because we're mainly going to have Phoenixes to defend here for Skillous.
Ooh. A couple of Banelings do sneak in, but it looks like Serral does have +1 armor. It's kind of funny, because after the early game happened, it feels like the dynamics have completely shifted here. You know, you had Serral and Rattata going at each other at the start, but now, you know, it's Oliveira and Skillous trying to catch each other in the middle of the map, while Zerg players just do whatever they want.
Yeah, pretty much. They're trying to drone as best they can. I say that, but both Zerg players have stopped at 67 workers, and they are making nothing but roaches right now, so they are working on a big push. The reality is, you know, who's going to have better support behind them? Again, I don't think Phoenixes are the best unit when it comes to roach versus roach. Like, they can pick off a couple of roaches here and there, but they're ideally utilized to pick off high-tech units, you know, things like Vipers, things like tanks as well. But Oliveira, likewise, is focusing on a mainly bio-focused army.
Yeah, he's gonna have a couple of tanks, but I highly doubt that's gonna be. I highly doubt that that's gonna be. Oh,
don't do anything.
And I have maybe 4. I have 3 tanks. Actually, I have 4 laboratories.
Nice. I think we just go here.
Let's go, Poppy.
Let's go.
The zealots aren't gonna do anything, Poppy. I've got 6 Banelings. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go.
Okay, there, careful.
As we get a little bit of comms there from Team Serral Oliveira, we do see a
If you
little bit
get
of harassment
tanks,
from
get
these
to
Phoenixes,
kill
but that means
base,
the
maybe?
Phoenixes won't be at home to defend. Serral and Oliveira are focusing on this
I
big
will
push.
go kill. Let's stay
Yeah,
here
they
and
have
kill Cold Base.
everything they need right now. I mean,
In my library,
Banelings
try
are
to
here.
kill rooms.
Coming.
Failing. Kind of don't want to talk
in
over them.
from.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
thing.
what
I'm like,
Marine
I
there.
know they're
I
not
think
here,
Storm
but I'm
drop,
like,
maybe.
I don't want to interrupt
Oh,
them.
no,
That'd be
Storm.
rude. Storm drops are not
Easy
quite
win.
coming in,
I
but
killed many drones,
regardless, it looks like a concave of roaches with
doesn't
the
know.
tank support from the back is going to be good enough to keep this going. Serral has so much supply. I didn't even notice the mass amount of Marines that Time had to back this all up as well.
Yeah, those tanks were completely unhindered here. The ground Protoss army just wasn't good enough, and Serral's macro was just too damn good. GG gets called, and with one solid push, Serral Oliveira, mate, they take the game.
Yeah, look at how hyped they are. Coming in at the back there.
Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. But yeah, like that's the thing that was really concerning to me is that it did seem like even though Serral was getting harassed, his overall macro was greater than Rattata, so he did have just a larger Roach Ravager army. And we saw that the Protoss player, because they shifted away from Double Stargate Phoenix, from the Phoenix production, there was no real answer to those tanks. Those tanks in the backline went ham for Oliveira.
Yeah, it was almost kind of a Goldilocks situation there for Team. I don't want to call them Ratless. Team Skittles. Coming up here. Team Skittles here. Yeah, Skillous didn't quite invest enough into either Phoenixes or into his ground army, and likewise Rattata didn't quite invest enough in his own Roach Ravager army.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. And we saw that the transition that Skillous did go for, which was we saw Archon Zealot, Archon Chargelot, which in 1v1 is pretty good, but here, especially in 2v2s, when both players, there's a reason why Phoenixes are so good early on, and Phoenix into Skytos, it's because you don't kind of get in your teammates' way. When you have two ground-focused army, you're trying to like move past each other, and you're trying to get on top of an army, and you can argue that also works with Serral and Oliveira, but the difference is that tanks don't need to push forward. You know, they're designed to be in the backline, so they can still stay out of each other's way.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, of course, Marines, I mean, they're small, so they don't get in the way anyway. So yeah, Marine tech, pretty dang powerful in conjunction with a Zerg army going on there. Yeah, Charged Archon, I mean, we just saw they just bumped into each other a lot, didn't they? It bumped into the Roaches and Ravagers of Rattata as well. Eventually, they bumped into the Banelings of Serral.
they did, and I think if you're going for a composition like that, two ground focused armies, I think you have to go for the sandwich. You have to go for the surround and come in at two angles. We saw that it looked as if they weren't quite ready for the push, for the timing. They didn't have eyes on it, so as a result, both Skillous and Rattata's armies were just kind of bunched up in the same location, and they had a hard time engaging through that choke point. And yeah, it was just a really well executed game number one from Serral Oliveira.
Yeah, definitely very well coordinated, definitely very well planned out. Let's see what they have in store here for map number 2, or set number 2 here, as it is called over in the WTL Tour. Heavy Artillery, I think that's a newer map.
Heavy Artillery, this is many times now. We have a screenshot that makes it difficult to see what the map is. This is another one of the oldest. You'll know it as soon as you see it. You'll be like,
Okay. It's going to be a map that has gold bases, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is.
That's why I don't recall it that well. It was always the number one requirement for team games here in the CranKy Ducklings. Every gold map is vetoed. Now I recall it. Anyway, in the bottom left-hand corner, we got Serral and Oliveira. And together, they're Serral Oliveira.
And spotting in the top right-hand corner, we have the orange Zerg player Rattata alongside his teammate, the red Protoss player Skillous. And together, they are Skittles.
Yeah, boy.
Oh my god. So yeah, they honestly, I really did like their early game. I really did like the first 5 minutes or so of the game here for our red team. I do think they did perform quite well. I do think that getting into the mid game, though, I think that I don't know. I'm not too sold on the tech transition done there by Skillous. Maybe I just need to be convinced. Maybe I just need to see a bit of a better execution of it. But yeah, I don't know, Papi. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that if they were to go for a similar unit composition this time, assuming that Team Serral Oliveira does the same thing as well, it should work out a lot better for them. Specifically, should work out better for Skillous, because looking at the mini-map right now, it's all coming back to me. This is such a wide open map compared to Emerald City, which may as well be renamed Choke City.
Pretty much, mate. It's all about choking each other out. And here, especially the middle of the map, there are so many angles of attack. The rush distance is still relatively short. Bear that in mind. So they're not gonna have too much time to react to any major pushes if they don't scout it too early. But outside of that, we do see some pretty standard openers. Hatch gas pool. They're just confirming to each other, okay, link speed is on the way. There's no fast lair play. And that's quite important because we have seen in the past, this map is quite commonly we see on this map, like 2-base Muta or 2-base infestation pit.
Yeah. And, if it catches your opponents off guard, even if it's a Zerg Terran opponent, well, it's not much answer to that, as we saw just last night.
Yeah. yeah, exactly. We saw that become quite popular. Meanwhile, already Skillous is switching these things up very drastically. He's not going for a Stargate opener.
Okay, well, once again, taking the map into consideration, this more gateway-focused style from Skillous can work out pretty well for him, I think. But we'll see.
We will see, as we have quite a bit of aggression coming out from our red team here. We see not just a Blink Stalker opener, but we also see a very fast lair. I believe that was a 3-minute lair coming out from Rattata. It wasn't the fastest lair possible because he did get link speed, obviously. But with this, he can set himself up to go 2-base Muta.
Yeah, and that should synergize pretty dang well. I mean, you're just talking about how one of the major problems Team Skittles had in game number 1 was their ground forces were just mashing into each other.
Mm-hmm.
If one takes the sky and one takes the ground, that's pretty much going to solve it.
Pretty much, mate. And here we go. Oh my god, it's not the Spire. He's going for the Infestation Pit instead. He's going Swarm Hosts.
But the wall is not, in fact, the wall here. Oliveira could be trying to sneak in. Ooh. Thankfully, though, a couple more Stalkers did get warped in. Team Serral Oliveira will confirm that Skillous wants to go a bit aggressive, but they still have no idea about the Infestation Pit here of Rattata. Is it actually going to be... Yeah, Swarm Host would make the most sense.
Yeah, there we go. We have a Nidus on the way as well. So when it comes to 2-base lair play in 2v2s, we've seen either 2-base Muta or 2-base Swarm Host. But there we go. We have that confirmation. Meanwhile, this has gone unscouted, but it looks like Serral has finished droning. He's making a lot of lings and a lot of roaches. A lot of lings and soon to be a lot of roaches as well.
Yeah, pretty decent answer to the Stalkers that I'm sure he thinks is coming his way. And if they slip in, they're going to be able to catch the... If they slip in, they're going to be able to catch the Infestation Pit.
And much, much more. As the wall is not a wall. The Lings, they get into the main base as well. They confirm that the lair is already finished. This is already a pretty good scout. Yo, they catch the Nidus. They can kill the Nidus.
They could, before anything could be loaded into it. Man, this is... Okay, one Swarm Host will load into it, and it will come out right at the end there. Did it die? No, I thought it came out.
Okay. If it came out, it was saved there, but that was a very important scout, especially because it does delay the Swarm Host aggression that much more.
Really, really does. Not only does it delay the aggression, but now Team Serral... I keep getting tongue-tied with their name. Team Oliveira now will be able to get what they need to defend against the Swarm Host. They can focus a lot more on on Banelings and whatnot.
How is Oliveira less tongue-tied? Like what are you Team Avril Lavigne. Let's go.
Let's go. Team Skater Boy.
we do have another link run by. Once again, the drop is able to take down and push back all these swarm hosts. We have another Nidus on the way because the second Nidus was focused down.
Yeah. Once again, Team Skittles just hasn't really been able to execute their plans.
Yeah, well, they just haven't been able to use the swarm host, period. You know, they got the swarm host like 2 minutes ago, and they haven't really been able to use any of the locust waves. It's forcing them to just run across the map with those swarm hosts, and that's a very dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, especially when you have all of these lings in contention. Skillous, he's doing whatever he can to try to support those swarm hosts of Rattata, but once these lings get a bit of a surround, I think it's all going to be over.
And here we go, the Lings are going first round on these Stalkers. They can blink away the Swarm hosts, go for a Locust wave, but they're just being focused down by the Marines.
Yeah, the tanks were on siege. Nice catch, and I am inclined to agree with Serral here.
And there's no way out. Yeah, the Swarm hosts, they just cannot escape the Lings. GG gets called, and Oliveira take game number 2.
Very, very clean once again here. They almost can't believe how clean that execution was themselves, looking at the webcams at the end there. Yeah, once again, I like the idea. Once again, I really like the idea of Team Skittles here. But Team Oliveira, there we go, Oliveira, just able to respond and not even was able to scout very, very early on and just react in kind.
Yeah, like it just everything just went right for especially Serral. Like the first Ling run by, the wall wasn't just a wall, but he was able to go all the way in, confirm the lair, and he was able to get a full surround and kill the Nidus. Like I don't think he expected that to happen at all. He was like, oh my god, I guess I'll go for the Nidus and I'll kill it as well. And that gave them so much time to prepare. Not just that, the second Nidus was in the main base of Rattata. And just as the second Nidus finished, in comes a double drop from Oliveira, and he just focuses that Nidus down as well. And essentially, Rattata just couldn't do anything. He just wasn't able to execute his plan at all.
Not one bit, yeah. But it's good that, you know, it does seem that Team Skittles, they are aware that they're going to be a bit of the underdogs here. And they do have a lot of plans in store to make up for that fact. We'll see if they're able to actually, you know, pull off any of them here. Or if Team Oliveira is going to allow them to pull any of those plans off.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, we do have Skillous and Rattata having a bit of a hard time at the beginning of this series. But it's a long series. It's a best of 7. There's still at least 2 more games to go. And I do believe they can bring it back. They just had a couple of rough goes at it. And hopefully this doesn't chip away at their mental too much. Hopefully they're able to, you know, just shake it off and get into game number 3 with a clear head.
Yeah, I think the number one mistake to make in a 2v2 is to mental it too hard, IMO. Everybody knows that the key to success in any team game is to ape it up.
See, sometimes you make the mistake of thinking too hard, and in 2v2, really, you just shouldn't think at all.
Exactly.
Sure. I mean, that can definitely be true in a lot of cases. Not gonna lie. Especially because like the reality is that Serral and Oliveira, they haven't been doing anything fancy. You know, it's just been. They've just been droning, just been making workers, and just going for these big pushes. They haven't been going for any kind of tricky early speed timings or all-ins or mutas or swarm hosts or anything like that. It's just been straight up.
Yeah, we haven't had a scenario where, you know, Oliveira spams mules and just feeds all those minerals to Serral here,
Rainer.
or Ling Flood or any of that. Rainer.
Did I cast that with you? Did I cast Rainer with you?
No, it wasn't. But I remember that. But I remember that match.
That was a series where Spirit was just like the bank
I
of
watched
Rainer.
the VOD of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so just very impressive, very clean play coming out from Serral and Oliveira, and it looks like some of the players may have just requested a bit of a break just to get ready for our next game.
Clear ahead. Return to Ape.
Empty the mind. Yeah. There you go. And I see Fernantok in the chat as well asking a little bit like, yo, what's the story behind the name change, and we got confirmation last week. I believe Pig, he didn't interview time, but he was asking him during the ESL weekly tournament. He asked him like for confirmation, like, hey, like where did the name come from? And it was the UFC slash the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. Apparently he's a big fan. He's a big fan.
I thought it was the racehorse.
No.
For a sec there, but no, in fact, it was the MMA fan, which actually kind of makes sense, you know, looking at Oliveira's playstyle and whatnot. He loves to choke his opponents out, just rear naked them.
He loves to scissor kick people in the face.
Grapple, you know? And speaking of grappling, here we are in the bottom right-hand corner. We got Serral and Oliveira, and together, they are Oliveira.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Reclamation, we have the red Zerg player Rattata alongside the orange Protoss Skillous, and together, they are Skittles.
Yeah, boy.
And we have something quite interesting here. Rattata and Skillous. Rattata just opened up with a pool first. Skillous just opened up with a 2-gate opening.
Yep. This is how you win a team game. Non-stop aggression right from the beginning. Oh, sometimes you lose that way, but I believe that they're going to win it this time.
I believe as well. As there we go, a proxy pylon is being set up behind this. I imagine we're going to get a 3rd gate as well. We do see Rattata already has link speed on the way. I believe it may have not just been a pull first, but maybe a gas pool opener. And looking at the gas income, Rattata hasn't pulled out a gas, so he could also go through a Baneling Nest.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe bet here, I think, in 2v2. There's that Baneling Nest, yep. Serral, with his Overlord, should be able to scout, you know, an earlier pool coming out from Rattata, 2 gates coming out from Skillous. Most likely, Oliveira's going to try to set up a bit of a wall. I'm going to bust that down somehow.
Yeah, they don't have vision yet, but here we go. The Lings are going to confirm the pool first opener of Rattata, so they've got a piece of the puzzle, but they don't know how all-in Skillous and Rattata are going to be. Meanwhile, you also called it. You're like, mate, this is the time to ape it up, and they are are going... They are going primal. You can see Serral is looking for the proxy. He is looking. He's scouring the edge of the map, and he's barely going to be missing. All right, he's going to check.
And he will just see it. Yep. Lings were not quite here. He saw the pylon, but he might not. Well, okay. Seeing the pylon alone is a bit of a tell, but will it be enough of a tell here for Serral? Regardless, I don't think he wants to take his chances. I appreciate that Spinecrawler is finishing up, but like you said, like, we're going full ape.
Yeah, nothing but Lings, nothing but Banelings behind this. We do have a bunker on the high ground here for time. We have a spine on the low ground for Serral as well. A tank comes out. Going tank first is huge, and with that tank, I don't think time is going to be broken, but they're going for Serral.
Yeah, if they can break Serral first, then time will be starved out for the rest of this game, or at least that's, I think, the plan here coming out from Team Skittles. Tank is in a little bit of a precarious position there. It is no longer on the high ground. Well, technically it is still on the high ground, but you know, it's not protected by the SimCity anymore. Lings slip on past the Terran defenses, and they are going straight for Serral. Serral, I think he's run out of units.
Serral is he is in danger right now, and Time knows it. That's why Time is slowly leapfrogging his tank over. He wants to try and save Serral right now. We just see a Bailey going off on every single one of those drones.
And that was absolutely huge. The Stalkers come in to snipe the Banelings of Serral, and Serral is done here. It is all on Oliveira right now to try to save the day. He's got tanks in a very nice position, but the Lings are starting to flood in.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Sorry, for interrupting.
We have been in this position before, and Raynor has been able to recover from this if these hatcheries are saved. But again, Oliveira's having a really hard time going up against both of these armies by himself. He has 2 tanks. He has 1 Baneling as well. And here we go. Oliveira, he's going to go for it.
I believe in the 1v2. I believe in the 1v2 coming out here from Oliveira. He's got 3 tanks.
Ты хочешь выйти и...
And a dream. It's times like this, lad. I wish I didn't stop Russian on Duolingo.
I heard pool, so I think Raditz is just letting him know that I killed his spawning pool, and he goes, "Oh, I killed his Mavis." A little bit of miscontrol there. A lot of stalkers are going to be going down for free, but Skillous does save the majority, and we do see that Oliveira can feed Serral. He can give him minerals so that Serral can rebuild his drones.
Yeah, this one hatch surviving is absolutely everything right now for Serral. 4 tanks are going to be enough to keep Team Celivera alive. It's going to be very tough. Capybara?
Oh,
let's go.
Yo, Serral comes in with the one bailing. He kills every single link bar one. And again, everything's going to be cleaned up. And yo, Oliveira is going for a big, massive all-in. I was going to say that they could try and macro out of it. They could try and give Serral a bunch of minerals. But Oliveira can share unit control. And now, this is it. He's going for it.
Yes, Sim is about to finish up for him. He's got 4 tanks, which is a very, very solid backline here. Remember, it's only Lingbane and Stalkers right now that Oliveira has to contest with. Nice little bit of juggling there to keep one of those tanks alive. Third base is very greedy, as Serral points out.
So third base is going to be cancelled here. Meanwhile, the tanks are going to push on forward. Nice macro earlier to save those tanks. Here we go. We actually don't have any bailing. I don't think we have any bailings available here for Rattata.
There are none, and all the Lings have been sent across the map to try to go for a bit of a counterattack, try to catch reinforcements. Getting 1 tank is pretty huge here for Team Skittles, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, that's the question. The Nexus is going to be going down here, so Skillous is down to 1 base economy. Meanwhile, the Zerg player is banking up more Lings. They're going for a mass around.
Yeah.
And that may just about be enough to finally break Oliveira here. The Stalkers blink on in, and Stim is not done yet. They should be done. GG is called, and Team Skittles puts some score on the board.
GG. Rattata and Skillous do put a point on the board with their cheese, with their aggression, with their basically all in. We saw that, unfortunately, on this map, we see aggression quite often because both players are isolated from each other in their own main bases. It's really hard to support each other. We saw Time desperately trying to bring his tanks over and trying to move over to help out Serral, but we know how tanks they're quite slow, they're quite clunky, and if they're exposed, if they're unsieged, they die. So he was having a really hard time rotating over, and Serral, he was left on his own.
Yeah, really was. I appreciate this game purely just as evidence that aping it up is how you win team games.
That's how you do it, Papi. That's how you, apparently. As they are able to put a point on the board, but that was also very map dependent. You know, not every most 2v2 maps have shared main bases. There's only a couple here and there that have the main bases separated and spread apart. So because of that, cheese can work well on that map, but most maps like heavy artillery, like Emerald City, not quite possible.
That's just a harder.
What does that mean, Papi? What does you pull the boys, Papi? Let's go.
Surprisingly common in a lot of 2v2s is to just drone drill right from the start. Double drone drill even.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah.
But when I first saw that, I was like, oh, okay, we have what's it called? What's the term? Like a griefer? Somebody who just wants to screw over his teammate. But when you see both players do it, you're like, oh. Either they both hate each other or they're in cahoots.
Oh, they both love each other, Papi.
Yeah, that's the ultimate expression of love, I think.
There you go. There you go. Oh, boy.
So, Valentine's Day, viewers.
Regardless, congratulations to Skillous and Rattata for fighting back, and now we have more of a back and forth series. We are going to have more than 4 games, and they are able to get a bit of a cheeky win here, and hopefully that gives them a little bit of momentum and confidence as well going into the rest of this series.
Yeah. Oliveira, they are beatable when it's a 2v1.
There you go. There you go. Tis. You can isolate them. Yeah. You can gang up on them. It is possible in 2v2s. It's going to be a little bit harder here on Roscallion, though, as this is one of those maps where you do share. Yeah, you share main bases and you also share naturals.
Yeah. Very easy to turtle, which is why if I know Skillous has a little bit of an aversion to his Stargate units, but if there was ever a map to try to pull it off on, I feel like this would be it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not wrong. This is a good map to try and cut in half and go for kind of more of a late game composition and get into Sky Toss, get into mech as well. But I also know I don't think we've seen Oliveira go mech in this entire tournament. Yeah. Period.
Career, yeah.
Yeah. Never goes for it.
There's an aversion to it. He likes to grapple. He doesn't like to whatever the mech equivalent to MMA fighting would be.
There you go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Rascallion, we have the blue Zerg player Serral alongside his teammate, the teal Protoss player Oliveira, and together they are Oliveira.
Meanwhile, over here in the top left-hand corner, we have the orange Zerg player Rattata, his teammate Skillous. Together, they are Skittles. Sour Skittles.
You know, I'm a say something. Alright, maybe controversial. Yeah. M&M's greater than Skittles.
Ooh, okay, different candy.
They are different, but they look very similar.
They do look very similar, right?
They try and trick you, puppy. I was a child. I was 5 years old. They got a bag of Skittles, and I was mistaken. I was tricked.
Oh, I was gonna say, who mixed Skittles and M&Ms in the same candy bowl and presented them to you, like?
Yeah. I was scarred as a child, and never again. Never again. Will I confuse
an M&M and a Skittle in your mouth at the same time, and it's like, oh no, it's a mistake.
I was scammed.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But enough of that. Life.
I gotta
Life's
say something
traumatic.
Even more controversial. Smarties.
Oh,
tastes like powder. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. M&M's.
Actually, I lied. I've never had Skittles when I was a kid. I had Smarties. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what you.
What does Skittles even look like?
They do.
Skittles look like M&Ms? Okay.
They do look like M&Ms, but they're what you would call it? They're like fruit candy.
Yeah. But
they're
so is
chocolate.
Smarties, right?
No. Smarties is chocolate.
Oh, okay. Look, I know what I'm saying. Look, I just know that M&M are greater than all these things, okay?
You're not wrong. Look, just because you're not wrong, don't mean you're not right.
There you go. Things have been happening in this game.
Not many things. I mean, sure, you got Serral getting his Baneling nest, you got Skillous going back to going Phoenixes, but it's like, we expect these things.
There you go, mate. There you go. Yeah, I think some of the more notable things is that we just saw Rattata trying to get a third base, but he was denied by that Reaper, and the drone was killed. So he's forced to stay on 2 bases, and I believe he's going to be committing here as well. We still don't see a third hatchery. He's going to be going for an Evo chamber. Interesting.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Serral, I believe, is just playing it safe. He's getting his third. He's getting a Baneling nest. He's making some safety lings. Nothing too crazy out of the Zergs. My eyes are just mainly on Rattata.
Oh. Did I dream it, Light, or was there a meta or a season of 2v2 at one point where Ling Phoenix was unbeatable?
That was a thing. Yeah. Especially against different unit comps where the Phoenixes would come in that would lift like the Protoss unit in the wall and then Lings would flood. It was disgusting. But that was definitely a thing. Meanwhile, we just saw Rattata go for a very fast lair. He's going for all 4 of his gases, but he's not going for a Spire. He's going for roaches.
Oh. Interesting. When I saw the Evo chamber, I thought for sure we were going to get +1 melee and +1 Lings trying to flood in to sort of support the Phoenixes that Skillous is getting in, but no, it is in fact going to be roaches. Skillous has cut his Phoenix production now, and he's going into more of a Robo style. Interesting.
Yeah. Very, I guess, kind of similar to game number 1, where Skillous Yeah, Skillous opens up Phoenixes, but doesn't commit to the Phoenixes, which I'm still not convinced on, but maybe I should be because he's getting a lot of drone damage here at the third.
Yeah, right before Spore can finish up. Meanwhile, Serral is looking to reciprocate the damage, and there's not a lot of defenses at home for Skillous.
Oh, but it looks like Rattata is able to help support with a handful of units. It looks like the third base of Skillous is going to be saved, but I don't think I can say the same for the third of Rattata as the 2-on-1 drop comes in, and this hatchery is going to be cancelled.
Oh, okay. I had to hold my breath for a sec there because I thought that that building was going to finish up, but thankfully Rattata is able to cancel it right at the last second.
Oh, boost out, Poppy, boost out. We see, once again, the Phoenix is trying to hunt down this drop, but this time, Oliveira is on point. He's a little bit, he's wizened up to this, and is able to save his medevacs in the end, gets out of there. Meanwhile, Robotics Bay on the way here, so Skillous is going to get into very fast splash damage. We'll see whether it's Colossi or Disruptors.
I feel like Disruptors is the #1 way to make your 2v2 partner mad.
It's true.
But it is, in fact, going to be Disruptors coming out here from Skillous. So, yeah, you know, Team Skittles, they have a strong bond.
Yeah.
Disruptors can't break that bond, you know. They're still going to be teammates and friends after the Disruptors of Skillous blows up the Roaches of Rattata.
I think they have a bond, but it can be broken by Disruptors. I'm just throwing that out there, buddy, okay? We'll see if they're still friends after this. Oh, boy. So, of course, you have to be very careful with your purification errors. Make sure you avoid as much friendly fire as possible, depending on the unit composition. Thankfully, Rattata isn't really going to Lynx. He's going to Roaches. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes are coming in once again, and so far, I don't believe we've lost any Phoenixes. And, yeah, they find a bit of a sweet spot here. Pick off another couple of drones.
And that's the thing about having a lot of Phoenixes. They can tank. It's kind of like what you would do when you get a lot of Oracles, but different somehow.
Yeah, a little bit different there. And they've been doing a great job at just, again, keeping the economy of Serral in check. Rattata, though, hasn't really droned up too much, though, so it's not like he's taking full advantage of that. He's actually taking up instead. He's going Roaches, and it looks like he's going to support this with Infestors.
I dig it. I dig it a lot, actually. Get the fungal on a huge clump of Marines or a huge clump of Roaches, and then let the Purification Nova do the rest.
Oh, let's go.
Synergy.
We can see it now. The fungal and the Disruptor, the layup and the dunk. We'll see if we can get it here from Team Skittles. Meanwhile, Serral and Oliveira, they've kind of been stuck at home. We saw a little bit of drop play earlier, but because of all these Phoenixes, we are kind of forced to approach this in a bit of more of a turtle style. We aren't going for turtle compositions, though, thankfully, and we are going to be working towards one big push as Rattata is looking to deny the fourth.
And he will be able to deny it for the time being. Oliveira, meanwhile, he is not turning around. He is not turning around to defend that. He is going straight on forward for his push. Serral trying to go for a bit of a flank to support Oliveira, but does get caught by Rattata.
Yeah, it looks like Serral. Oh my god, he's going to be... Yeah, he has spotted the entire army here of the Roach Ravager. He has spotted the Infestors as well.
I need Marine here.
Now Team Oliveira is going to be... Or Team Celivera to be much more careful about that.
Yeah, exactly. Again, there are Infestors behind the army, so they have to make sure they avoid the Fungals. One of them is going to kind of connect with the Ravagers.
Yeah, a handful of Ravagers, and the Biles will land on top of that. Skillous, not quite in position, but the Phoenixes are around to support, maybe catch a couple of medevacs if need be.
But still a little bit before
A little bit of damage on that CC.
Yeah, unfortunately, Serral's a little bit late with his Hive Tech. As he said, I need Vipers. I was like, oh, he's got some in production. Well, that's actually Rattata. Rattata has 2 Vipers on the way. We have 3 Vipers in production as well, but he needs a little bit more time.
Like so, Rattata. But yeah, as they come out, he's still gonna have to suck on some buildings to get some energy. Rattata once again should be able to get the kill on that 4th base for minimal Roaches.
Yeah, there we go. Only a handful of roaches for that base. At the same time, it looks like Skillous and Rattata are getting ready for a sandwich. You can see in the minimap, Rattata's main army is towards the north. We see Skillous with his main army towards the south. They're waiting for Serral or Oliveira to push out.
Yeah, ideally both. Not quite able to nail the fungal just yet, but getting there.
Ooh. Yeah, more fungals are connecting. Serral is having a really hard time fighting against these spellcasters with just pure Roach Ravager. Meanwhile, here we go. Oliveira is pushing through the center of the map, and now is the opportunity for Skillous to to execute his trap, to come in.
Yeah.
You can try. I think it's good.
Papi.
Yeah, he's trying to set up here for the most perfect surround possible. I think he has been spotted here by Oliveira.
Cross.
Yeah, Serral's turning around to try to deal with that.
Oh!
You know, so he can't afford to get surrounded. The Vipers will be able to yoink most of these disruptors in the middle of the Purification Nova, and the other disruptors just get killed before the Novas can really land. Lurker Den is dead.
Do you know where Lurker are?
And yeah, it looks like Oliveira has really been able to establish a foothold here in the main base.
Yeah.
Team Oliveira pushing straight on forward.
Skillous basically just lost everything. With that, like, he was banking on a massive engagement with those disruptors, but the Vipers came out just in time. Skillous lost the majority of his army, and now Oliveira just shuts down that tech, shuts down the Lurker transition. Vipers are coming in, and it looks like Oliveira is going to get cleaned up, but this push has already done damage, and now Serral is pushing through the middle of the map.
Yeah, losing all of that tech hurts. Losing the tech and the main base hurts even more. Serral doesn't have to deal with Skillous' counterattack anymore.
Yeah,
he's just pushing across the map.
It looks like that Zell counterattack is going to get cleaned up. Once again, the Disruptor goes down to the Liberators this time. It looks like Serral is running out of steam, though, so he has to send everything that he can back at home. The Vipers should be able to survive. We see the Roach Ravager of Serral just trying to trade out as best he can as he does come back home for reinforcements.
Like so. Slowly but surely. Rattata has to be careful. He can't really afford to overextend too much here. That's exactly what Team Oliveira is counting on.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like there was a bit of a Roach counterattack earlier, but it did get cleaned up in the end. Serral is still maxed. Oliveira is struggling a little bit, and a big reason for this is because it took him a long time to get a third, so his main and his natural are quite mined out. He needs to desperately try and get a fourth base. He needs to maybe even get a little bit of resources from his teammate. Looking at you, Serral. Yeah.
Hey, you know, you can feed him.
Could feed him, Bobby. Could feed him. Things are settling down, though. We're just taking more and more of these expansions. Oh, and we have a transition to Skytoss.
About time.
Up!
IMO, great feedbacks on top of the vast majority of these Vipers. They are not going to be useful at all in the coming engagement that's right about to happen. Oliveira, meanwhile, sneaking a couple of units in just to really cripple the economy of Rattata.
Oh, and he will, by the way. The fresh mining base of Rattata is going to be going down, as well as that Liberator going ham in the main. We do see Serral going for a massive Roach run by. He just runs past the interceptors. He doesn't even care.
Yeah, it's basically just like... it's basically the Protoss Mutalists, isn't it? They just tickle roaches.
They do tickle roaches. Serral just wants to refine his army. He's also transitioning into Hydras, into potentially even Corruptors. Something that shoots up to deal with the Skytoss. These roaches will eventually be cleaned up. But Serral and Oliveira have done a great job at crippling the economy and keeping their opponents back at home as we transition into something better to deal with those carriers.
Namely, Spire.
Yeah, I mean, Time just said it. He's like, yo, I'm going to go and buy you some time while you make Corruptors. So we'll see if he can pull that off.
Oh, yeah. Right. He's right. Yes.
He was talking to Serral, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. And it looks like the drop gets in. And once again, yo, Rattata is being bullied, by the way.
It really is. Every single time, he cannot get a base up. Skillous, he's trying to help defend. He's trying to support Rattata, but he just has a very slow unmaneuverable army.
I mean, Rattata is knocked down to 2 bases, by the way. He has 2 hatcheries remaining right now. He has a decent army with some spellcasters, don't get us wrong, but rebuilding that army is going to be a bit of an issue. Meanwhile, we see a Prism sneaking into the main base here. Oh, barely does survive. At the same time, some Vipers do get shut down, but look at that carrier count.
It is absolutely massive. The Corruptors are still on the way. They're not out just yet, and there are plenty of High Templar on the ground as well. You try to storm them if they bunch up. Great Parabomb, though, from the side of Serral onto all the Vipers of Rattata. All of them actually being taken out.
Vipers are going to get taken out. Meanwhile, I don't believe there is any detections to the Lurkers of Serral. Barely hold on. They barely stand strong here. There's still a handful of Marines behind this. Interceptors died, but Carriers survived, and that's the scary prospect right now. Serral and Oliveira don't really have too much of a bank. They need to desperately try and make as much as they can here, and there we go. There are the Yoinks.
The Yoinks are beautiful. High Templar are not quite in position to try to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. 1 carrier is going to be going down. We have 9 carriers remaining, though. That's a lot of carriers to deal with. The Lurkers have to rotate back over. Meanwhile, I do not believe we have any detection for the Lurkers. Oh, good.
You can try.
None whatsoever. The Overseers of Rattata, unfortunately, a little bit too slow. Rattata has been bullied throughout this entire game, and now it's time for Skillous to be a victim of bullying.
Can he get the... Oh, he gets the Nexus, but 1 second too late. The recall goes through, but did he really want it? Because now he can focus on the carriers.
Just like so. Some nice little bit of stutter stepping here from Oliveira. He loses the entire drop in the end, but he's able to take out some very, very key units. Remember, Oliveira has a slightly better economy than Skillous right now.
Yeah, I mean, Oliveira, that Dune drop was his army. Look at his supply right now. Oliveira is kind of struggling. He doesn't have a lot left over. He has to rely a lot on Serral here to hold on, to hold the line. The tanks are being taken out one after the other, and in comes Skillous and Rattata.
Yeah, unfortunately for Oliveira, Serral isn't quite in position to deal with this. He's got plenty of Corruptors to deal with all of these carriers, but there's not much on the ground.
Oh, but the Marines are coming on in, even though we don't have that much supply for Oliveira. He's coming in strong here towards the end. A lot of carriers go down, but there's still 4 carriers remaining.
Yeah, the Parabomb comes in just a bit too late. The Corruptor count goes down. But like you said, like the Marines are still very much in play. They're starting to die out, though.
Oh, there's 1 carrier left. They get almost every single carrier. Meanwhile, the Lurkers borrow. They're going to be able to take down every single one of these. Zealot here. Detection is not in position. GG! Gets called! Oh my god!
Skillous, yeah, was completely broke at the end there. Looking at that, actually, no.
Serral, I don't know if you heard, Serral and Oliveira were like, how did we win?
Early, yeah.
Did you see the back of Rattata? Rattata has 2k.
Yeah.
He wasn't
that was because Skillous left. So all the minerals were transferred over to Rattata there.
True.
At the end there. But even still, you know, distributed between the 2 of them, I gotta agree with Serral there. I think Team Skittles left a little too early.
I don't think Skittles realized how desperate Serral and Oliveira were. So Oliveira was down to sub 100 supply. He was microing his heart out with a handful of Marines. Serral was in a bit of a better position, but he was also running out of steam there. And
he bled out so many Corruptors in that fight.
He did.
And that was the vast majority of his army and his economy. I honestly think if the game went on a little bit longer and, you know, Team Skittles didn't lose too many key units, you know, didn't lose too many more carriers and whatnot, they could have absolutely won the war of attrition.
100%. I feel like maybe they could have been able to feed they're not making full use of being able to give each other resources, and maybe if they could do that as well, they could try and recover a little bit. We saw that there wasn't much anti-air left, so if Skillous even made 3 more carriers, they would be able to hold on and keep going. But it looks like Serral and Oliveira broke the mental of Skillous a little bit there. They were able to demoralize him enough to tap out, and that's the power of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
It really is. You know, every time you watch an MMA match, the Jiu-Jitsu fighter never wins because they knock out their opponent. They win because, you know, they make their opponent cry.
We watch a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Puffy.
Yeah.
We know all about it.
Alert from
but
Eric.
there we go, mate. There we go. GG, well played. Serral and Oliveira will barely take that game. Barely. Oh boy. It came down to the wire.
It really did, and you could see them celebrating so much. They were in utter disbelief. That's, I think, probably one of my favorite things of the 2v2 tour to come out here.
Mhm.
Even in other tournaments where you do get the webcams and whatnot, you never really see players just celebrate so much at the end of a game, quite like a 2v2.
Oh yeah, never quite as much. They have a lot of fun. I'm sure a lot of it is not just because there's like banter between them and there's that camaraderie, but also like they're not fighting just for themselves. They're fighting for their teammates, and I'm sure that also feels really good as well to win together and to celebrate in that victory together. I think WTL, they tweeted out yesterday. This is why we love 2v2s, and they showed like all the players playing and smiling and stuff. And it's like that doesn't really happen in 1v1s.
Yeah. And 1v1s usually it's like, yes. 2v2 it's like, yes. How did we win that?
Yeah, I remember a couple of days ago when we were casting, a lot of people were like, yo, Maru's smiling. What's going on? Like, a lot of the Koreans were like enjoying themselves, and they have the stereotype of, not really showing too much emotion. So yeah, it's been really cool to see everyone enjoying themselves and having fun and also playing some damn good StarCraft as well in a different format, but still pretty damn good.
Pretty very damn good. Pretty very goddamn good.
Yeah. I just posted the tweet. I posted the tweet in the Twitch chat. I see Wax Angel responded. This is illegal. StarCraft isn't allowed to be fun. Oh my god.
Facts.
We can also see the different qualities of webcam between.
You really can, actually. Yeah.
We can judge the players a little bit.
Who has the best webcam here?
Heroes is pretty good.
Where's Hero? Yeah, actually, Heroes is pretty clear. He's got a really solid. Background as well.
He does.
I don't think he has a green screen.
No, it's
Yeah, it's a virtual background.
Yeah, in Zoom you can have the virtual background. Yeah.
Dark. I love the contrast between Dark's cam and Hero's cam here. I mean, it was even more pronounced last night when you had like Dark right in front of it and Hero all the way in the back. But, yeah, this is it's really fitting IMO that Dark is just shrouded in shadows, whereas Hero, he's got the sun beaming down on him.
Yeah, it's mate. It's the sun comes out whenever Hero smiles.
It does.
He has a very bright smile. But yeah, the players are just kind of getting ready for our next game. Shout out to Happy Mario. I know, right? It's beautiful.
And it's like a legitimate smile. It's not like the smile that he does where he's like, "Oh, I messed up there."
Yeah. It's actually happy, mate. Actually happy. Here we go. Speaking of happy, we'll see who is happy after this game, because in the bottom right-hand corner, they're one game away from moving on to the grand finals of WTL 2v2 Tour. It is Serral and Oliveira.
Alright, so over here in the top left-hand corner, they are one map away from being eliminated from the 2v2 Tour. It is Rattata and Skillous.
Ooh. Here we go, and now we are loading into Polka. Not to be confused with Polski. Tis red and white though.
Yep. That's why it's named Polka. It makes sense.
Beautiful. But I think this is the largest 2v2 map in the tournament map pool. There's a lot of bases to be taken. The rush distance is very long as well. In saying that, we haven't had too many macro games on this though. We've seen a lot of all-ins. We've seen a lot of muta play. We haven't seen, too many bases actually taken on Polka.
Yeah, surprisingly. It's like the map maker went out of their way to try to discourage or to try to encourage macro games. Like you said, very large map, plenty of bases. The rush distance not only is large, but it snakes around a lot. There are even mineral walls to try to keep players a little bit more defensive. Mm-hmm. But our players here in the 2v2 tour don't care. They're just gonna kill right from the start.
Exactly, mate. They just don't care. I'm always going to remember, I think it was yesterday, we saw Kellizer and a laser cheese on this map, and with their scouting workers, they actually mined out the mineral wall on the left-hand side.
Yep.
They mined out the mineral wall so that they could go for a Ling Flood and they can go for a massive all-in, which was very smart. It didn't work. Didn't work in the end, but it was very smart. It was very thought out. For the meantime, though, we do see no early pools, no early like proxy gateways or anything like that. Pretty standard openers.
Yeah, for the time being.
Oh. That's a bit of a rough drone there. We do see that Rattata was once again in the middle of taking a third base, but oh, he loses the drone.
Oh, not something you normally expect to happen. Almost loses another one as well. Oliveira keeps his Reaper alive. Okay, it should be killed by the Adept, but it's already paid for itself.
Yeah, delaying that third base is already well worth it. And we see Serral is mixing things up, by the way. He stays on 2 bases, and that was a very fast. That was like a 2-minute 40 lair. Oh,
incredibly fast. What are we going to see from here, Serral? Banes or Mutas?
Yeah, in this 2v2 format, it's either going to be 2-base Spire, or we saw, earlier in this series, 2-base Infestation Pit for Swarm hosts. Either one could work well. They both work well just because this map is so large. If we did want to sneak out Niduses around the map, that could be possible, but we'll see what Serral goes for.
He's going to try to show him how it's done.
Oh.
But it is the Spire in the end.
Yeah, there we go. We have the Spire thrown down here. So 2-base Muta coming out from Serral. Meanwhile, we do see Rattata rushing across the map with quite a lot of Lings. He has a Baneling Nest behind this. He is droning, don't get us wrong, but he invested quite a bit into these Lings, and they have to try and pay for themselves. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, nice split right at the end there. As we do get a quick little bit of a pause, Skillous has a bug.
Ooh. Yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious. We may have to remake the game if it was a big enough bug to impact the game in some way. As a reminder, this 2v2 match is also on the new mod, the new balance mod. So there could be some bug related to the mod itself.
Yeah, kind of weird how... Yeah, kind of weird how it lines up like that, because you're like, what's it called? Mashing together a bunch of different mods to make it work in a 2v2 format. It's yeah,
it's this weird thing where it's really cool that a bunch of tournaments are utilizing the new mod, which has all the new changes to the game, the balance changes, but at the same time we're also kind of beta testing live. It's like we are just kind of testing the new mod and the new features, and because of that, things sometimes are prone to breaking, or maybe there's like an unintentional change that affects things in a certain way. Of course, otherwise maybe there's like a PC issue and like his mouse like DPI bugged out or something. I don't know.
Good old cat swiping the Ethernet cord, but I guess that's more for latency. Phoenix has come in
the Phoenix
try to lift up whatever he can, make a bit of an opening here for Rattata. We do see a connection on quite a number of these SCVs, but I'm not sure if that will have enough of an impact overall. Actually, look at the worker count now. That was a lot of SCVs that went down.
Yeah, basically almost every single SCV of time Oliveira did go down at his natural base. Okay. It looks like both Skillous and Serral have the same bug. They actually can't take their gases at their natural. Oh.
That complicates things a lot, actually.
That's actually pretty huge. Yeah, we can see, you can even see on the minimap, both Serral and Skillous, they actually can't take their second gases at their natural. And with Serral going 2-base Muta, that's pretty huge.
That's a game changer, honestly. Yeah, a huge game changer. Serral now is getting Corruptors instead of Mutalist, because I guess he realizes he needs to, make all of his gas count.
Yeah, and these Corruptors are going to shut down the Phoenixes. They are going to provide a lot of map control. This is really odd. Players don't usually go 2-base Spire for Corruptors just because Corruptors are very niche, and they're kind of their usefulness in the game is quite limited as well. They aren't anywhere near as versatile as a Mutalisk. They're a lot more of a specialized unit. We do see he's trying to make the best of them. He's going for Overlords. He's going to try and fight with the Phoenixes as well. He's going to be able to barely not pick off a Phoenix.
Yeah, awkward targeting right at the end there. But yeah, I'm just so curious to see how this all plays out. I have to wonder now what influenced this decision here for Serral. Whether it was the Phoenixes of Skillous or just the fact that he couldn't take a second gas.
Yeah, I imagine it has to do with the gas. But regardless, we do see Serral transitioning into roaches at the moment. We see +1 range on the way. His ability to go into a mass gas unit isn't quite there. He's actually going for caustic spray on the Robo. A little bit ambitious. He won't be able to get it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you can do to really find a use for these Corruptors, I guess, is going to be useful. But yeah, you don't want to be throwing them away unnecessarily either.
Oh, exactly. One Phoenix is going to be going down. We do see a bit of a Widowmine drop being set up behind this as well. It looks like Oliveira is trying to figure out, does he want to try and support the Corruptors with the Widowmines, or does he go for the economic damage? He's going for the Mineral Line!
You are not going to be... There is no way Mines would support Corruptors, is there? They're going to blow up, and they're going to blow all of the Corruptors out of the sky. I really like the idea here from Oliveira, you know, Serral, just trying to open up... just trying to force an opening here for those Widow Mines, but unfortunately the Phoenixes were a little bit too quick for those Corruptors.
Oh yeah, just a little bit too quick in the end, and the Corruptors, it feels like they've kind of ran out of usefulness a little bit there, but it's okay, you know, we're going into mass roach play. When it comes to time, he's going into bio tank once again. We were talking about it before, he isn't really the kind of player to go into mech, that's just not really in his repertoire. So yeah, the game is going to be going on here. Oh, Serral is going to be looking to try and deny this fourth.
Huge counterattack coming out from Serral. Once again, pretty good way of making use of all these links he was forced to make, because he doesn't have like much gas.
Yeah, and now at the same time he goes for a roach counterattack. It looks like he may be overextending, though. He's actually being sandwiched by both armies. He's going to get a lot of value killing a lot of these roaches, but he is forced back.
For now.
Yeah, he's actually reinforcing. It looks like he wants to fight here. Time is not too far behind. Actually, I feel like more importantly, Serral is keeping the attention of both armies while time is slipping in.
That's absolutely what is going on right now. But trying to counterattack best he can. We do see a bit of a minefield set up here for Oliveira.
Oh, and he catches all the transferring workers as well. But at the same time, the fourth base of Serral did just go down to a ling round by, so both players are hurting. Both teams are losing their fourths.
Yeah, in the end, though, who is going to bleed out first? Oliveira is still trying to get whatever he can get done.
Yeah, it looks like the players just letting each other know about the drops, about what they're seeing as well. I believe Rattata is confirming that he is going Vipers here to his teammate, which we have seen spellcasters really excel here in this, or even a medevac getting picked off.
Yeah, very big pick off here for Skillous IMO. Not only does it keep Oliveira off his back, but you know, because of the fact that Oliveira was playing on a low economy this entire time, any little bit of damage helps.
Oh, definitely. Meanwhile, here we go. Rattata's pushing in with a Roach Hydra army here. Roach Hydra, not the best composition overall. Ravagers do typically excel because they force micro, just as we are seeing. In the end, Rattata is forcing back the army of Serral, though at the same time, Serral, he just cannot get a fourth.
Yeah, huge counterattack coming up from Skillous. Oliveira trying to support this, and he will keep this hatchery alive.
Wow. Oh my god.
The hatchery can be transfused.
The hatchery is barely saved. At the same time, disruptors are coming on in. We have 5 disruptors with this army. Oliveira has to be very careful. Oh, doesn't quite deal any friendly fire, but in comes Rattata to help support the army.
And nice little concave being set up there. Good caustic spraying from Serral, going to be able to deny that fourth base of Skillous.
Yeah, but Serral was late to the party. He was late to rotate over to help support Oliveira, and it looks like there's just too much for Rattata and Skillous. They break on through. They crushed Oliveira's army first, and now they can focus on Serral.
I think
And
it's
they're
over.
continuing to push further and
Yeah,
further
no,
and
that's good.
further.
That makes this good. So
GG is called. And Team Skittles wins game number 5, putting yet another point on the board.
GG. We could see that Serral being the one to struggle to take a 4th base was really what it came down to in this Roach versus Roach battle. We saw that he was even saying himself that he was running out of steam, he was running out of money, he was really struggling to continue to his economy specifically. And at the same time, again, they had a hard time, both Serral and Oliveira, fighting together, which is something that Skillous and Rattata were able to really excel in that game, where they kind of joined forces more than once to kind of collapse on some of these armies.
Yeah, very nice. A noticeable improvement, I would say, from game number 1 here from Team Skittles. If you recall, that was kind of a map where ground units were bumping into each other to disastrous results. Game number, I don't remember which one it was, but there was also another game where Skillous went for a similar disruptor composition, but just never quite was able. I think that was game number 3. Yeah, it's coming back to me, where Rattata went for infestors, and ideally he'd fungal down an army and have Skillous come in with those purification novas, but unfortunately weren't quite able to coordinate that. Now, as the series continues, I feel like Team Skillous is warming up better and better, not just when it comes to their own mechanics, but also when it comes to setting each other on the same brain length.
Definitely. I mean,
on the same wavelength.
There you go. Yeah, I agree. Like, and there's nothing wrong with how Serral and Oliveira are playing it out. Basically, as we saw, Oliveira has been hyper focusing on just creating chaos and going for drop play and trying to focus on economic damage, while Serral gets his macro going. But specifically this game, we saw that Serral wasn't able to get his macro going. He wasn't able to hold on to his 4th base, and because of that, you could argue that all this harassment that Oliveira was doing wasn't really worth it in the end if he isn't able to keep his partner safe at home, if his partner isn't able to get his economy rolling. So yeah, they had an unfortunate turn of events there in the end, and this could be the beginning of a comeback here for Team Skillous and Rattata.
Yeah, I'm definitely very optimistic about this. Continuing it on. I think if Team Skittles recognizes that all they need to do is keep the economy of Serral down, and then they get a massive boon, and if they're able to replicate that over and over again, I think they actually have a very good shot of making it all the way to the finals. By the way, I really like that. I really like that framing that you had there. It's like it doesn't matter how much you attack your opponents if you can't keep your partner's economy alive. That's relationship advice.
I was gonna say you can apply that to other aspects of life. But here we go. We are loading into game number 6. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Catalyst, we have the Teal Zerg player Serral fighting alongside his teammate, the Blue Terran Oliveira, as Team Silivera.
And over here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we got Rattata over here, the red Zerg, and Skillous, our orange Protoss player. Put them together. What do you get? Skittles.
Oh boy, here we go. And yeah, Catalyst is one of those maps that is not in the 2v2 ladder map pool. It is a TLMC map, I believe, or just a separate map entirely. And yeah, as a result, it doesn't have too many crazy features. What's up?
I was gonna say, it's like, oh yeah, it's a little bit like Catalyst, but not. It's Catalyst. And then I remember what it's named.
You're an animal. It's like it's Catalyst-esque. So is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Shaking my head. Oh boy. So far, Once again, hatch gas pool openers from both of our Zerg players. When it comes to our Protoss, we did have just a gate expand, so nothing too crazy here. Pretty straight up here at the start of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Continuing the trend here from what we've seen. I mean, Team Oliveira, they tried to switch things up once in the series so far, and yeah, what happened? And that ended up not quite working out for them. Of course, part of that was because Serral's gas geyser was bugged. But yeah, I don't think if we're going to be seeing any aggression coming out here, if we're going to be seeing either of these teams playing more aggressive, it would definitely be Team Skittles.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Especially just based on how this series has progressed so far. For the time being, though, everything's pretty chill. We have our third bases on the way. We see Rattata making a swell of lings, and it looks like he's going to be just applying a little bit of pressure. I'm pretty sure he's going to drone up behind this, but we'll keep an eye on that production tab for Rattata, as he actually cut drones quite early on. And Skillous is finally embracing his inner Protoss. That is a second Stargate.
You love to see it. We're gonna be here for a while. Buckle up, everyone.
You're like, Sky Toss, let's go, Bobby, let's go. There we go. We can see 2 Phoenixes being produced at a time. We should be seeing a third Stargate behind this as well, and eventually a Fleet Beacon, but we'll see how hard Skillous commits to this. Meanwhile, for the time being, we do see a lot of Lings and Banelings being morphed in from the side of Rattata, headed towards the bases of Time of Oliveira. Oh.
And yeah, Serral's own Banelings were a little bit out of position to be able to try to deal with this. We have a little bit of a Lingbane fight going on here. Rattata really wants to draw those Marines into his Banes.
Yeah, we did have a bit of a zoning fight there, but the Banelings of Serral have survived to help protect all of these Marines from a surround, and in the end they will defend, but Time did lose a lot of workers. Oliveira did lose a lot of SCVs, and that was kind of already worth it here for Rattata. Meanwhile, at the same time, we do have a couple of Phoenixes showing up, and they will get an Overlord.
Nicely done, you know, just adding on to the damage from earlier. Serral actually gets supply blocked because of that.
Yeah, Overlord going down, a couple of drones as well. There was no Spore available at the third base. Thankfully, there are Marines around, so they are here to help support and fend off those Phoenixes.
Yeah. And Marines are basically moving spores, if you think about it.
Yeah. In a way, definitely. Once again, a 2-on-1 opener from Oliveira. It seems to be his go-to, and I don't know if I like it. Every single game so far, he's gone for the 2-1-1, and there's a lot of power behind it, but specifically against these Phoenix openers, it's so dangerous to pull off, because if you get spotted, the drop just gets shut down.
Yeah, and so far, Skillous has been doing a really good job of spotting these medevacs. He's been so forward is the term, I think. He's just been, you know, cornering every single part of the map in each and every set this series with those Phoenixes.
Yeah, he really has done a great job of containing both of these players here to their 2 and 3 bases. We just see once again, overextending a little bit. Meanwhile, at the same time, Banelings roll on in as well. Ooh, they do find the connections.
A lot of very juicy connections over there, but Serral honestly doesn't have that bad of an economy despite those losses. It's actually got far more drones than Rattata has, although I think that's intentional.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we can see here that Rattata has just been focusing a lot more on Ling production, and that has been eating to his own economy, so he's been hurting himself economically here. Is it worth it? We'll see. I mean, these Lings still have to pay for themselves, and we can already see that transition from Skillous.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be worth it as long as Skillous is able to defeat Rattata, but now that he's producing carriers, it's going to take a while before he can do that. Good scout here from Serral does confirm the carrier producing... the Stargate producing carriers, not the other way around. I'm not sure how the other way around will work.
Yeah, and there's not that much anti-air. Lair is done, by the way, for Serral. He is going for that Spire, but the carriers are coming out now, not later, and I worry that Skillous is going to try and hit with his first 3 or 4 carriers, and I don't know if Serral and Oliveira are going to have enough in time to defend the base. Are really good in!
Oh! Very...
close.
It's a really damn good thing Oliveira wasn't on move command there. Or who knows, maybe he was, and he just target fired the failing at the end.
He did notice, he did pay attention there towards the end. We do see the third base of Oliveira is being taken. The tanks do take down a lot of those bailings, so in the end, Oliveira is able to barely establish this third. But at the moment, it just seems like they can't really do anything to slow down the carrier production of Skillous.
It seems that way because it is that way. Serral is now getting a couple of Vipers. His Spire's about to finish up here. But once again, as long as Skillous doesn't give Oliveira that time, I don't think those units are going to come into play. I don't think that Serral is going to be able to defend his bases or his units.
Yeah, I really do love that Serral prioritized Vipers, because it's just a supportive unit for the Marines, and really that's what they have to focus on for anti-air right now. It's a great way to actually incorporate the Marines in the carrier defense. Of course, he is now transitioning into those Corruptors, but the Vipers are done very early. They will have plenty of energy for that first attack. And there may not even be a first attack. I don't know if Skillous even, does he plan to just max out first? He's just been chilling at home with his carriers.
Would be a terrible idea. I mean, he's still making use of these. He's still making use of these Phoenixes to give him map control. And meanwhile, Rattata's drones or Zerglings, sorry, should be able to deny bases just like so.
Yeah, another base is going to be denied here. Still a lot of Lings on the field. It looks like we have a transition point for Rattata. He is going into Hydras. We have a Hive on the way as well, I imagine, for Vipers. So he's not just going to be pure Ling, but it is just what he happens to have at the moment. Just trying to establish a 4th base. Ling run by is going to run into the armies of Oliveira and Serral.
Yeah, not quite able to deny or delay that. Not quite yet, anyway. I cannot believe we are witnessing this in Blight. Skillous skipped Gateway.
I've never seen that. Because some of those who don't know, Skillous doesn't have Warp Gate, so we're actually just seeing High Templar produced from vanilla gateways. I've never seen that before.
This seems like a mistake, but it cannot be because he is not researching it. He's intentionally queuing up the High Templar.
Yeah, well, I mean, he skipped Warp Gate for the faster Stargate in the beginning, and right now he can't start Warp Gate because he's got +2 air attack. So, yeah, he's just gonna make High Templar like he's a Terran player.
I hope this works out.
Beautiful, mate. It's a thing of beauty. Oh my god. So yeah, he's getting into Carrier Storm, of course. You do see a couple of Phoenixes across the map to harass. These Phoenixes have been alive since the early game, and at the moment I'm sure Skillous would be happy to throw them away, but he wants to get as much value as he can, and picking off 6 or 7 SCVs at this stage of the game is quite good.
That's pretty huge. I mean, he's able to keep Oliveira in that 69 SCV count.
Oh, nice.
It's always nice for them.
Beautiful, Poppy. Meanwhile, it looks like the Phoenixes were just, for the most part, shut down. Only 3 Phoenixes will survive. Looking at the units tab here, we have Corruptors. We have 17 Roaches for Serral. I don't know if that's a good thing. I know Ravagers can be a great supportive unit because of their biles, but pure Roaches, I guess they're okay for run-bys. That is a lot of supply, though, so we'll see if Serral holds on to them. We'll see if he goes for a run-by and tries to refine his army ever more.
Speaking of run-bys, that's what Rattata's doing.
Oh, and a very ambitious base there on the right hand. He's taking one of Oliveira's bases, actually. We do see a scan, though, in Oliveira. He sees. He's like, mate, what are you doing? Get out of my base.
This is my territory.
Oh, and it looks like he's going to be able to catch every single one of these Lings. A handful do manage to escape. At the same time, he's going for his push. I just realized how far behind Rattata is compared to everyone else. Look at his supply right now.
Yeah.
Ay.
Yeah. That's what happens when you prioritize all-out aggression right from the start. I'm loving these Baneling connections. Not the best in the world, but good enough that it seems that a lot of Marines get taken out. No, Skillous. He just walked this High Templar right into the firing squad.
That was a questionable move by Serral, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, but Serral got power bombed and he dove into the carriers, and the power bombs of Rattata did so much damage. Every single corruptor just went down.
Still 200.
Yeah, but the Marines are still standing, as are the tanks.
Keep attack. So counter defense.
Yeah, here we go. Time. You can see, you can hear it himself. He wants to commit to the attack. He wants to keep on pushing. He knows the interceptor count is low. He's going to be laying siege upon these Evo chambers. We'll see if he can actually fight against the carriers.
It's totally possible at this point. There are a couple of ghosts. 2 EMPD carriers just to make it a little bit easier to kill them with Marines, and Skillous will be able to clear this out.
Yeah. This is a little bit dangerous. I mean, Rattata is basically dead, as they're confirming. Rattata just doesn't really have an economy right now. He is on 2 bases. He doesn't have a lot of lava to work with, so he is down and out for the foreseeable future. He's going to need a little bit of time to recover. But Skillous, a maxed out Protoss army, can 1v2.
Unironically can, yeah. Depending on the unit composition.
Yeah, like the majority of the carriers survived the first engagement, and that is a scary thought. Bear in mind as well, once Skillous does max out, he can feed Rattata.
He can actually, now that I think of it. Yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. Of course, it wouldn't be able to make up for Rattata's lack of larva, but it's something at the very least.
And we can see that Rattata still has some tech. You know, he has the Lurker Den, he's got the Hydra Den, he's trying to go Hydra Lurker Viper. At the same time, we see a little bit of a Baneling run by. It is kind of... Oh, it's going to connect! Ooh.
Every single one of these drones, so it's an absolutely huge pick-off here for Rattata. Serral, all of a sudden, is starting to struggle a little bit when it comes to his economy.
He is struggling quite a bit. Meanwhile, here come the ghosts. A lot of these lurkers are going to get completely shut down. So once again, Rattata isn't quite in this. Serral does still have an army to support Oliveira, though. As I say that, he's actually remaxed with roaches. He's going for a counterattack.
Yeah, it's a pretty good support unit, though.
No Vipers, no Vipers.
The roach.
I think back.
Oh my god, here we go. The Vipers are coming on in. Looks like a couple of the Thors are going to get yoinked.
I think we just go back.
And they will go down to all the interceptors. Serral has just realized he doesn't have any corruptors, or not corruptors, sorry, Vipers. And he's trying to make up for that fact.
He's trying to make up for it. The Roach Rumbai did deal some damage, was able to take down one of the next side of Skillous. He's still on 4 bases. There it is. There is that max out by Skillous. He's got 1.5k minerals. Give some of that money to Rattata. Rattata's, he's struggling right now, Papi. Like, give him some money just to make Vipers. Oh.
He said, oh, huge concave coming in here from Oliveira, as well as Serral with all of these corruptors. The carriers did get EMP'd, and it looks like they're going down. The Marines have been dealt with, but what about the Thors? What about the corruptors? Not good enough. Not good enough.
Not good enough. I mean, the EMPs were insane on the carriers. At the same time, we have a bit of a Roach Rumbai as well. The thing is that Serral and Oliveira, they can remax. They have an economy. Look at the bases. Look at the minimap. They have so much to work with right now. Skillous and Rattata, they're stuck in the corner of the map. Skillous is forced all in. He's committing to a counterattack.
He has no other option at this point, yeah.
I can give up.
And you know, earlier on, maybe a minute or two ago, I would have absolutely thought that Skillous could have been able to pull it off. You know, if he fights the army favorably, if he fights the armies one by one. But now, things just aren't looking too good for Team Skittles.
Yeah, the remax is just a little bit too good. GG gets called, and there it is. Serral and Oliveira take down Rattata and Skillous 4-2.
I have to do it twice because it's 2v2.
It's true. GG, well played. Oh, that was quite close. It's a very scary prospect when a Protoss player is able to macro and max out on Skytoss unhindered. But in the 2v2, we saw that really all they had to do is get Rattata out of the game, make it a 2v1 in the end, and they were able to slow them down. They were able to just contain Skillous to these 4 bases, contain Rattata to only 2 hatcheries. And even though they were losing some fights, they could have more fights.
They really, really could. Congratulations to Team Oliveira once again here, but commiserations to Team... I'm going to call him Ratless for this one. Because honestly, this was a better result than I was predicting. Just looking at it on paper, I thought that maybe they'd be able to take a map, but they actually took 2. One of them with by aping it up a little bit. The other one in honestly a pretty solid game. I mean, they still did have to rely a little bit on winning 2v1s, but they were able to pull it off.
Oh yeah, they were able to pull it off in the end, so I hope they don't feel too badly about their results. I mean, they made it to the semifinals, they made it to top 4, and they will be back tomorrow because there is a 3rd place match that is going to be played out. So Team Ratless will be coming back, and they'll be facing the loser of DPG and Alpha X.
All right, they're actually like legitimate teammates, so they don't get a cool name. Sorry, Dark Hero, Ragnarok and Sound.
Oh my god.
We're gonna come up with names for them anyway.
Yeah, it was Herc was Hero and Dark. I think that's what Chase and I came up with, or Daro. Dario.
Herc works pretty well because that's like the Terran unit.
It is. Oh my god. But
Sagnarok.
Yeah. Or Round. There we go. Yeah, Round. Keep rolling. Regardless, again, congratulations to Serral and Oliveira. They move on to the grand finals. Next up, we have DPG versus Alpha X, and this is where I have to pose the question to both my lovely co-caster and the production team. Are we good to continue the broadcast tonight?
With Dark and Hero, it should be a short series. So let's keep it going. Why don't we?
All right. So we are going to be going on a short break. When we return, we'll be back with the second semifinals of WTL 2v2 Tour.
Enjoy the what is it called? Upbeat adventure music of WTL, and also these commercials.
See you soon.
形成更加良好的生态关系，探寻一条属于社区和玩家自己的生存之道。下面我们来介绍一下礼盒内的产品。2022冬季赛连帽卫衣，蓝黑2色可选，以本届 WTL 设计风格为主题，足够让你在人群中找到热爱星际争霸的同好玩家。2022冬季赛纪念笔记本，记录了12个战队从 CTC 时代一路走来的战绩回顾和每个战队王牌选手的介绍，同时对于世界战队联赛不可或缺的第13支战队资料也被收入到笔记本中。DPG 3冠纪念收藏卡， WTL 唯一3冠纪念王者之师全家福， WTL 联赛上 DPG 3度夺冠，让人难以逾越。同时 DPG 著名传奇选手也悄然上镜全家福，选手卡通形象巴基，尽管不像冠军战队那样炫目闪耀，这4名选手都曾经在 WTL 的舞台上留下精彩一笔，中间2字当之无愧。 DPG Rogue 亚克力立牌，可挂包可单独站立摆放，为纪念 DPG 传奇选手 Rogue 而制作的亚克力摆件，特邀画师还原 Rogue 职业生涯中的数个名场面，你能认出所有对应吗？2022冬季赛纪念票， 本次纪念票延续了上赛季的设计思路，背面则与夏季赛呼应，以星际老男孩宝藏解说黄旭东及诸多名言为灵感，用火车票的样式进行展现。2022冬季赛选手明信片包含了本次所有参赛战队的明星选手，是否有你最支持的他呢？让我们为他们助威呐喊吧！2022冬季赛战队贴纸，冬季赛参赛战队 logo 汇集一堂，可贴在礼盒的迷你行李箱上，大胆展示你对支持战队的热爱吧！战队赛贺岁兔年红包，2022冬季赛口罩，2022冬季赛鼠标垫，2022冬季赛迷你行李箱，一改往届纸质外盒不宜收藏的弊端，一盒收纳所有，值得珍藏。好了，以上就是我们礼盒内的所有产品。每一位购买战队礼盒的观众将为燃烧的奖金池注入一份挚爱，未来尚未可知，希望永不泯灭。Hell, it's about time。
大家好，我是 IG 的麦克森的，感谢大家对 WTL 的一个支持啊！有了你们的支持 ，WTL 才能走在现在。然后 WTL 现在出了一个这个礼盒啊，这个礼盒也是比较实用的，而且也比较这个方便啊。如果有兴趣的朋友可以去了解一下，现在礼盒在热卖中啊。然后最后还是要感谢一下大家对 WTL 的一个热爱与支持，谢谢大家。
What's up, guys? Rainer here. If you've been enjoying the WTL so far, make sure to check out the gift box. It's a lot of help for the tournament in general. It contains a lot of sick stuff.
네, 안녕하세요. 쇼피파이 리벨리온 테난 변현우입니다. 네, 벌써 2022년이 끝으로 다가왔는데 올해 저한테 2022년은 작년보다는 그래도 나아졌던 한 해 같아요. 작년에는 이제 카토피체도 예선으로 통해서 가게 됐었는데 이번 연도는 예선 없이 바로 조별리그로 가게 되어가지고 조금 더 성장하고 있는 것 같아서 매우 좋고, 지금 진행되고 있는 WTL 팀리그도 아직 시즌이 끝나진 않았지만 남은 경기 잘해가지고 플레이오프에서 꼭 좋은 성적 냈으면 좋겠습니다. 또 이제 내년 2023년도 이 월드 팀리그가 꼭 지속되었으면 좋겠어서 지금 판매하고 있는 기프트박스 같은 것도 많은 관심 주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 올 한 해 응원해주신 팬분들 모두 감사드리고, 내년에도 꼭 스타크래프트2가 그 씬이 이어져가지고 내년에도 계속 뵐 수 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.